Oh wait, y'all can't hear that. Let me get let me get my sound effects right for you guys. So you guys can hear everything going on here. Let me go ahead and get that fixed. Bam. All right, guys, we are live. We are live. We are live. There you go. You can hear that now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Heat Check live beat review show right here on YouTube. I'm your host, Desmond A, and today we're here to definitely have a good time, give you guys some great information for you in your music production journey. First of all, I want to start this stream by saying, of course, condolences to Tay Keith, very popular music producer. He gave a lot to the music game, gave a lot to music producers. So I want to say RIP to, Tay Keith, everyone who supported him, things like that. As a matter of fact, I reached out to Tay Keith about a week or so prior to his passing. So, you know, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but want to show love to him. Checking out some of his older interviews, found out that he was previously a rapper, and that kind of explains his production style, how he has so much space in his beats. He definitely made sure he left enough space for recording artists, and that's that artist mindset. You don't want anything in the way of the production. So I just want to go ahead and show love there to Tay Keith and his family. Ladies and gentlemen, also, we have a new Made in the Studio podcast episode dropping next Thursday. That's right, next Thursday we have an episode with Daniel Cruz Hernandez. He's an attorney. He does a lot of things out here in the music production community. You guys have seen his face. You guys have seen his Instagram producer royalty of his company. He's always out there getting the royalties for producers, things, getting held up and whatnot. So he's always out there in the trenches. So me and Daniel, we had a fire interview. So look out for that episode Thursday morning. Myself, Daniel Cruz. It is definitely a fire episode, and you guys are going to learn a lot about the music business itself. So, we talk a lot about production, but when it comes to the placements, a lot of you guys scratch your heads. A lot of you guys have questions on loops and if your beat gets stolen and things like that. Man, I asked all those questions to Daniel Cruz Hernandez, and you guys are going to enjoy that episode. So make sure you have your pens and your pads ready for that episode, because it's definitely filled with knowledge. And if you haven't seen the last episode that I did of the Made in the Studio podcast with Juke Wong, very talented producer, loop maker, musician, make sure you check that out on the podcast tab here on my YouTube channel. Also, you can find the Made in the Studio podcast anywhere that podcasts are played: Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can play it on your way to the gym, on the way to work, anything like that. So please continue to support the podcast. Got more episodes on the way, and I'm very proud, man. The podcast is growing. It's extremely tough to do, but all the positive feedback that I get from you guys definitely make it well worth it. All right, guys, so I got all your submissions. We're going to make this a quick show. Yes, definitely RP Keith. Shout out to Quasi in the chat. Shout out to you. So guys, we're going to make this a quick show. I'm just going to jump straight in to the beat reviews here. I have an engagement after this, so I just want to get straight to what you guys are here for. All right. So getting started from the very, very tip top, we're going to go ahead and start with, let me do a little bit of an intro though. So if you guys don't know, my name is Desmond A. I'm a producer out here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been producing for over 12 years now. Have placements on networks like Bravo, E-Television, Sci-Fi Channel, so on and so forth. I've worked at recording studios, recorded artists myself here, sold beats online. So that's what gives me the perspective to go ahead and give you guys this feedback. So if this is your first time here, this is who I am. That's what qualifies me to give you this game. So let's go ahead and jump right into the stream, right into the show. So our first producer here is Onismus Made It. His first submission tonight is My Side. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, all right, all right. Man, Onismus kicked the door down. I had to hit him with one of these. That's when you know somebody's kicking that fire. Onismus, man, you killed that one. Man, you guys should know by now I'm definitely partial to that style of, you know, hip hop, soul, hip hop type of beats. And Onismus, you definitely nailed that one. Um, Man, Anismus, I hope you have a BeatStars or a YouTube channel with your beats on it, or somewhere that you're actually promoting your stuff. You know, a lot of you guys I've noticed from doing this show, a lot of you guys have a lot of fire beats, and there's not a way for people to reach out to you guys for music, especially if they just want to lease something right now, right off the bat. It's the weekend. People want to just hop into the studio. So Anismus, I definitely hope you do have something like that out there. Maybe you're posting J. Cole type beats. Maybe you're posting Chance the Rapper type beats, and hopefully people can find you. So that business side of things, that promotional side of things, I hope you're doing it because your talent is definitely there. And if you need help, you know, promoting and getting yourself out there, there's a free guide in my description. It's an Instagram guide on how I've used different strategies to reach out to different artists, to build connections, and eventually sell beats. So make sure you check out my description. Click on that. It's just free Instagram guide. And then we'll go ahead and you can go ahead and use that information to help you build connections with recording artists. Quasi in the chat, wasn't considered acceptable link for a beat submission. So I didn't do my total intro, Quasi. So for free submissions, we play about a minute and a half of a beat. And then if somebody wants to do a VIP skip the line, which we see up there at the top and also in the chat, VIP skip the line, we play your entire beat. But for free submissions, we play about a minute and a half. So that's how we do it for both of those groups. And guys, if you're trying to do a VIP skip the line, once again, this show is I have to get in and out on this show. So if you want to do the VIP skip the line, please click it now. Please don't wait to the very end, because unlike other shows, I'm not just gonna kind of kick it. We have to get in and out this week. So get the VIP skip the line in, and you can get your music played because the free submissions are closed as of right now. All right, so Anismus, as far as any type of constructive feedback, those drums were really good. Those drums were I liked the way they sounded. I liked the way they felt. Some people might feel like those drums were just a little bit too loud, a little bit too aggressive. You could pull them down just a little bit. And I want to say, when I say a little bit, I mean like negative 0.3, just that much, just to make things a little more balance, because those drums are really hitting us, and we could pull it down just a taste, and I think we can still keep that same aggression. We can still keep that same feel. So I think we could lower it a little bit. And then there's a point in the beat where you had the snare hit that, to me, it sounded like you were trying to do, I don't know if you're trying to do a flam with the snare, like the where the two hit, I heard just like a, which that works, but with that soulful stuff, it's kind of putting me in that mode of like the Justice League kind of stuff. So we might want to hit like a flam right there with that snare just poking out. So instead of the, we can do, and you know, you could do that. So, oh yeah, that beat definitely was nice. Yeah, Nismus, you know, I know Nismus, you might not want to sample snitch on yourself. If you could let us know what kind of sample that was, that'd be cool. But if you don't want to sample snitch, you don't want us stealing your work and doing it for ourselves, then you could definitely keep that to yourself. But it would be interesting to know. So shout out to you, Nismus, and thank you so much for your submission. All right. Moving forward, we got the second submission from Anismus Made It. This one is called Cali. So I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. ladies and gentlemen, that was Anismus Made It with Cali. Shout out to you, Anismus, and thank you so much for your second submission. Now, Anismus, man, I'm definitely digging your style. It's like you're having a consistent style. Um, you have a consistent texture to your music. It's like what I'm getting from you, Anismus, is I'm getting the feeling that you're ready for your own artist because you have your own aesthetic, your own music, your own tone to what you do. And similar to producers on here who submit like Dancing Main, it's like I'm hearing things that are so consistent, that are so unique, that have their own fingerprint. Right now, the main thing that you actually need is to just lock in with either a particular recording artist or a particular songwriter, even, putting yourself out there on YouTube, doing YouTube type beats and letting different people find you. Like a lot of people don't know that I believe it's the Doechii song. Doechii, her hit song was actually a YouTube beat that she found, and I believe it was like a MF Doom type beat. I forget the story behind it, but putting yourself out there and letting people find you and locking in with a person is definitely going to take you far because you have that consistent flow. I can see myself listening to an album produced by you, Anismus. So it's definitely a huge compliment. Another thing I'm hearing, Anismus, one thing I'm liking how you're clipping your drums. So I'm wondering, what are you using for your clipping? Because that's, partially for me. I want to know how you're clipping your drums. Are you using some type of hardware? You're just driving your drums into it? Or is it just your sound selection and you're doing, that doesn't sound like digital clipping. It sounds like you might be using, I'm not sure what you're using to clip your drums, but if you could let me know in the comments or the chat, if you pop in, I definitely appreciate that. But yeah, Anismus, as far as feedback, man, it's just at this point you have that consistency, and it's all about locking in with a person. So shout out to you, Anismus. Thank you so much for your submission. All right. Kwame loves the beat. Shout out to Kwame. Shout out to Kwame, man. He's watching the stream as well. All right. Moving forward, we have JG Beats 734 with Psalms. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, before I play this beat, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com where you can get free loops, free FL Studio Patcher plugins, and free guides that are going to help you sell your beats, help you get good at Pro Tools, have another one for mixing, so on and so forth. Everything you need to help level up the music production game, go to DesmondASounds.com, and I'll be glad to help you on your music production journey. So let's go ahead and get into this beat. JG Beats 734 with Psalms. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was JG Beats 734 with Psalms. JG, thank you so much for your submission right here on the Heat Check. Now, JG, man, that's a great beat. I'm getting Chance the Rapper vibes. Man, you guys are coming through with the soul beats. You know, I don't know what it is. You guys are out there feeling the energy. You guys are feeling good because maybe the weather is good. So I definitely appreciate that. Great vibes. To me, I'm getting like that Chance the Rapper type of energy. I can hear Chance the Rapper on this. I could also hear No Name. That's another artist I was thinking of, is No Name. She could get on a beat like this. So those are the type of artists I was hearing when I was listening to that music. One thing here, JG, is the high end of the beat. Just kind of watch those resonant frequencies on the higher end whenever you're kind of mixing. It didn't feel harsh. And I don't want you to get into too much resonant suppression, like using things like Soothe 2. Some people are just over soothing their stuff and, taking the life out of the top end. But just kind of watch certain things. Whenever you're playing back your music, you're EQing things, don't be afraid to get in there, listen and see, okay, if I take off a little bit of this high end, this part of the high end, does it sound better? Does it feel a little bit better? And then always, like one of my mentors showed me, is to always A and B stuff. So does it sound better now or does it sound better now? So A and B, your EQ, just kind of watch the top end. And especially if we want to crank this up, I don't want that to cause any type of ear fatigue. So let's try to get the top end a little bit smoother. Don't do too much surgical EQ. Just kind of play around with it. It kind of has old school vibes, so it's okay if the top end is not quite as crisp. So, kind of watch those high end frequencies. Also, another thing I was hearing is your kick. Your kick was really punchy, which is good, but I feel like you could either add another kick to it or you can swap it out. So what do I mean by that? So let me find a thicker, heavier kick. Let me go to my collection here. I'd be best if I cut on the volume. I want to kick with a little more body. Okay, so let's play the. Okay, that kick has a lot of punch. Okay. In this case, I think we just need like a rounder kick and to make it lower pitch, because that was starting to give me a little bit of phasiness. So I'm going to let you go ahead and do that, JG. I don't want to take up too much time doing that. Just find a rounder kick, pitch it down, make sure it's lower pitch, and then also truncate the tail of the kick. So not too much of the kick is just lingering on. So we just want to stack another kick on top of that punchy kick just to give him more body, or you can swap out that kick for a kick that's just already there. So that's a tip. That's a tip that I actually learned from, sorry about that. That's a tip that I actually learned from one of my Made in the Studio guests a long time ago, from Andrew Lloyd. Drew's that dude. So make sure you guys check out his episode and get some more gems. All right, so shout out to you, JG. Thank you so much for your submission. All right, Tafara, you're in the building. Sorry about that wait, Tafara. Let me go ahead and get your VIP submission up here now. All right, we got Tafara. Let me go ahead and hit you with the sound effect, Tafara. You just did the VIP skip the line, so I got to hit you with the
new VIP.
New VIP. All right, so let's go ahead and get you in here. All right, Tafara VIP, skip the line. All right, and while I'm pulling up Tafara's VIP skip the line, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Tafara. Okay, so you just okay, so you want to go first. Okay, perfect. All right, Tafara. Thank you so much for doing that. So we got a new VIP skip the line. Tafara, he just wants to jump right in, go ahead and get his music played. So we're going to go ahead and get straight to Tafara. He went ahead and did the skip the line. So we're going to play his entire beat. Then we're going to get back to JG. So let's go ahead and take a listen. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic and let's take a listen to this song. All right, sorry about that, guys. I must have hit the pause button when I was doing my little swap there. So let's go ahead and play Tafara. Hopefully, JG, you heard everything I said, but let's get straight to Tafara. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tafara with Relic. Shout out to you, Tafara, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check, especially with the VIP Skip the Line. All right, so Tafara, the first thing I noticed on that beat was the tone of this. Let me find it. It's like the dum dum. It's like it's usually used in amapiano beats. kind of watch the tone of that. It's just because since that instrument carries tone, it's it's a little bit off, and it's a little bit off in a way that's a little bit too unmusical. So Tafara, if I can get for you to, um, I don't know if what you're using, Tafara, if you're using FL Studio, whatever you're using, but whatever DAW you're using is going to give you the opportunity to fine tune whatever sound that you're using. So what I want you to do is I want you to play the song back, listen back to the beat, and just play with the pitch, play with the fine tuning of the pitch. You just whatever pitch knob that you have there. I wouldn't use the piano roll to go up and down. We're going to be doing things by sense. So we're going to do different scents. So we're just going to need to pull the knob back and forth. And then whenever we find the actual part where things just match more musically, that's when we're going to go ahead and stop. So might have to do that back and forth a couple times. You can do that, or you can mute it, or you can maybe use a different percussion instrument. But that sound itself just threw me off a bit musically. It was just a little bit off, and it didn't add anything in a kind of artistically off way. It just felt like it didn't quite blend the way it should blend. So but let me first by saying overall it's a great beat, great vibe, great energy. It's just we're here for the constructive feedback. Another thing here, Tafara, there's a part here around 1 minute, I believe. That part. It just felt a little weird. I don't know if that's quite out of key. I doubt it is. I doubt it's out of key since you're a musician. You're probably there, but it just felt a little bit weird. So let's not that part. We can go ahead and get rid of that. Just keep it straight. You don't need to go up that high. It just kind of threw the vibe off. Another thing is when I was hearing the live bass, the live bass itself, whatever live bass patch that you're using, or you might be using a real bass guitar, that bass, it just felt a little bit too soft. It felt a little bit too thin, especially that you had that nice round sub bass going, and then we went into the bass guitar part, and it just felt like an imbalance. It felt like we had a nice subby bass, and then we had a live bass that was like it didn't have enough presence and enough body. So Tafara, I'm not quite sure if you have this VST on your computer. A lot of people do have it. I'm not going to say how you guys get it in case I get a sponsorship later down the line. So a lot of you guys do have CLA bass somewhere on your computer. So CLA bass is probably one of my favorite. It's just one of my favorite plug-in VSTs to put on live bass guitars. It gives it so much life. I don't know if you possibly have this on your computer somewhere. This is a really good VST to just, you can have your live bass, and then you can pull in some sub to give them more body, and then you can pull in more bass, excuse me. Then you can add in more sub here and growl here and chorus here. So CLA bass really allows you to just tailor make your bass exactly the way you want it to be shaped. So this is one of my favorite VSTs to work on live bass. So hopefully you have that, Tafara. It's a really good plugin. There's another one that's similar to it. I did a review on this one. When I did the review, the VST was free. Someone made a comment, told me it's no longer free. Maybe they're doing another free thing. I don't know. So I would look into this as well. This is a similar VST called Honeycomb Bass Overdrive. This is another really good VST to add presence, subs, mids, to just really get a live bass guitar to sit perfectly in your beat. So CLA bass, however you're gonna get it, and then Honeycomb Bass OD. Hopefully, Canvas Audio's put it out for free again. I'm not sure, but I think that's a VST that you would definitely enjoy, especially since you have so many musical elements. So shout out to you, Tafara, and thank you so much for that. VIP skipped the line. All right, we got another submission by Tafara, but first let me jump into this question we have here. Okay, hey Desmond, I'm starting my own Discord feedback stream. Do you have any advice on how to start, how to get more artists on the stream? Thanks. Okay, so Big Boy Daddy 1712. He's starting on feedback stream on Discord. How to get more artists on the stream. From what I noticed, recording artists are very receptive to these type of feedback shows. I was starting one at one point called the Spotlight, and it was just way too much for all the stuff I have going on. So to get artists on a feedback show, I'm not sure what your budget is, but a really easy way to do it is to, if you're familiar with Facebook ads at all, you can just create a simple Facebook ad to a link. I'm not sure if Facebook allows for Discord links, but if you can do it just a Facebook ad, just create a flyer on ChatGPT and then put a link to where the artist you can just go straight to some type of form where they can go straight to submitting their music. And then as a follow-up, you can tell them about the Discord, or you can possibly go straight to the Discord. But to me, Facebook ads and recording artists are like, bees and honey. They love Facebook ads. So, you can even run like $1 a day or $2 a day. Facebook ads don't need that much to drive traffic. So look into Facebook ads. It's going to take you a long way. Me personally, I do producer stuff. Another thing you could do is find like different Discords similar to what you want yours to be like, and then reach out to the people via DM in those Discords and say, hey, I have my own Discord, check me out. So don't do too many DMs or you'll get blocked, but you can, kind of poach and take some of other people's, people from their Discord and put them into your Discord. So hopefully that helped you, Big Boy Daddy. But we have to get back here to the VIP skip the line with Tafara. Let me go ahead hit Tafara with the
new VIP.
All right, let's go ahead and get to his second beat. This one is called Memories. I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tafara with the second VIP Skip the Line with Memories. So shout out to you, Tafara, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Tafara, another great beat. That beat was definitely more consistent. There wasn't a part that really pushed me out of the music. The music really kept me engaged and really in tune with things. Um, that being said, it's like this is one thing that I've even had to do recently, Tafara, is I tell you guys to do this, but I make sure I practice what I preach. There's just something going on with how it's like there's a part of me wants to say it's your sound selection, but it's something else like in the overall picture of the music because I'm hearing all the ingredients that you have in your beat and they're really good, but it's just like I want to experience it more. I want things to like bloom and pull me into the music more. It's almost like going to an art gallery. So I've been going to art galleries here and there in the city, right? So it's like going to an art gallery and seeing a nice picture, a nice painting, and then you look at the painting and then you're like, I really wish like I could turn up the vibrance of the colors because I like the picture, the painting looks good, but the colors just need to be enhanced. They need to be saturated more. They need to be more appealing and exciting and tantalizing to the eyes so I could really, really feel it. And that's how I'm kind of experiencing the music. It's like if we could do something with the ingredients to enhance it. So once again, part of me wants to say it's sound selection, but this is what I want you to do, Tafara. I want you to have your beat and then look up different, instrumentals of artists in the vein of music that you do, like, Burna Boy instrumentals, WizKid instrumentals, different people like that. And then literally just, drop them in your DAW and then listen to how the relationship between the kick and the bass is on that person's stuff and then your stuff, or listen how they're panning certain things here and there. Like for instance, me personally, I've been going back to Hit Boy. He had an instrumental project back in the day. I purchased the instrumental project and recently I pulled up the instrumental project and I just listened to how much the engineer was panning things and how that kept my ears engaged. So I want you to do the same thing, but really more so the relationship between sounds. How's the bass like for this beat with the kick? And then how are you tending to do things? How's the high end on certain things that the producer or the engineer did on the WizKid song or the Tim song, whoever. Of course, we're not going to get to the level of people who are spending hours in $1 million recording studio running things to a bunch of analog gear and putting it back in and doing all kinds of stuff. But it's at least a good framework. It's a good reference point to know how we're going to balance the relationship between things. So, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, you're welcome, Tafara. You're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, so I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student of the game, man. Especially when it comes to the engineering and the mixing side. It's a whole science to it, and I'm constantly fascinated by it. So I do have that Hit Boy project, and I was listening to the panning. So I definitely want you to do the same thing. But shout out to you, Tafara. Shout out to you, Tafara. And once again, I want to say I appreciate you for the
New VIP.
Skip the Line. So shout out to you, Tafara. Please continue to cook up that fire. Continue to keep grinding in school. I know you're doing your thing in school, man. You're making us proud with the music and the education. So keep doing your thing, man. You could definitely do both. So keep it up. All right. Moving forward, we have, I believe we're on the second submission for JG Beats 734. So we are on So Through Part 2 by JG Beats. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen.
I'm Five, five, four, three, two.
Yeah, I like that. All right, shout out to you, JG Beats 734. I like how you did that with the little chord change you did right there. That was pretty tight, man. It was giving me like no ID vibes. So shout out to you. I like the way you did that. So JG Beats 734, thank you so much for your submission. Second submission this week. JG Beats, one thing that I'm hearing, you're definitely developing your own sound, your own style, and you're at the point where you and a recording artist can lock in and like you both can tighten your sounds up together. You can grow together. One thing that happened in my Made in the Studio podcast when I was speaking to Juke Wong, producer who produced for Future, Young Thug, Lil Baby, Playboy Cardi. He's produced for everybody, all the hottest people in the game. One thing that stood out to me when he was speaking was that he mentioned that as he was, working on his music, he was getting music to people who are like local artists. And he said he really just wanted to get his music out there. He wasn't really looking to sell right at that point. He was just planting seeds to different people out there in Chicago. And then eventually people heard his stuff. I know in this music game, a lot of people say no free beats, no free beats. And I definitely feel that. I definitely hear that. But one thing to keep in mind is it's two schools. It can be tricky. Let me say that because it could be real tricky. I don't want to say you have to give out free beats, but just know that you can plant seeds in different ways by giving your music out there that people can start to find you. But I don't want you to get finessed out of, free music, if that makes sense. So if you're going to do that route, then try to position your music with people who are actually, who actually have momentum, who are actually out there performing, or you can tell that the person's actually investing in themselves. I feel weird even saying that, but I'm just recalling just speaking out loud about what Juke Wong mentioned and how that helped him get with this person. And then this person was like, oh, you produce for that person who's an indie artist. And that helped to get his name around. So, it's tricky. I'm not going to advocate for free beats, but what I will say is that, you can find a way to invest in other people. So there's a way that they'll eventually invest in you, but you got to make sure you do it with the right people, or you can just end up getting taken advantage of. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that on you to figure out who's who. But that's just another option out there to help you, grow with a particular artist who's actually, or maybe they'll just throw you a few dollars here and there. Who knows? So, another thing I was hearing here, JG Beats, is one thing that I was noticing is the high end on the main sample part, you're doing something that I used to do. Let me play this here.
5, 3,
Let's see. So when it dropped, everything was fine, but right there, that part, you can still create a little bit of contrast between the sample and the hi-hats. And I'm a big advocate for this. It's just light shelving. So we have the EQ. You would drop the EQ right on the sample, the channel that you have on the sample. And then just do like a light dip like this. How many decibels? This is negative 1.5 decibels. You could do something like this. It really doesn't make sense for me to do it now because everything is on this channel. But if you just do like a light dip on the sample, the hi-hats are going to cut through more and it's going to create a more musical feel. So as producers, a lot of times we want to hear everything at the same time, and then creating a little bit of contrast is just a great way to have other elements poke out a little bit better. So I think that'll just make the experience of listening to that part just that much better. So, you know, go ahead and do that, and I think you'll enjoy the results. But I did notice that once you did do the drop, it sounds like you did have some filtering on the sample, and that made things definitely enjoyable. Yeah, I'm definitely getting classic Kanye College Dropout vibes. Yeah, I got Heatmaker vibes. Yep, Quasi says Cameron would murder that beat. Yep, I was hearing Heatmakers on that. JG, shout out to you. We got JG in the chat. Okay, Tafara saying he would like to hear an 808 or in a heavy kick. You know, Tafara, excuse me. You know, JG, you can keep it as is. Also, you could possibly even have a live bass on that if you want to go all the way in that College Dropout, you know, Kanye type of vibes. You could definitely have a live bass player play on top of that. Or you can just drop an 808 here and there, you know, whatever way feels best. Yeah, I'm really hitting College Dropout vibes. So I think if you're in contact with a live bass player, then, you know, I think that'll knock it out the park. But great beat, man. Shout out to you. All right. JG in the building. All right, moving forward, we have a heat check regular, ladies and gentlemen. This is Millie Beats. I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. We should get some West Coast vibes from Millie Beats, so let's take a listen. All right, all right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Batty. Shout out to you, Millie Beats, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right. Millie Beats with the West Coast vibes. Can you guys believe that Millie Beats is I keep busting you out, Millie Beats. I'm sorry, man, but he's making these beats on a mobile device. Millie Beats has been cooking up beats on a mobile device, and he's just sold his first beat not too long ago, man. So shout out to you, Millie Beats. Definitely appreciate you for submitting on the Heat Check. All right, so Millie Beats, definitely had that, kind of had that YG West Coast vibes that we appreciate you for submitting each week. The bass that you had there was cool. I wanted just a little bit more body in that bass, so I'm not quite sure on FL Studio Mobile if we can push a little bit of the low mids of the bass a little bit more. I just want things to be a little bit chunkier, with these West Coast beats, especially these YG style West Coast beats. It's a lot of room for a lot of low end and a lot of body. Earlier today, I was listening to the YG album at the gym. I was listening to the song Who Shot Me. I wanted to get the producer who did that on the Bathing Studio podcast. Please return my emails and DMs. I'd love to have you on the podcast. But you listen to that beat, the YG beat, Who Shot Me, you hear all the bass that I believe Mixed by Ali mixed it. And you hear all the bass that Ali was able to have in that beat because it's so spaced out. So we want to definitely take advantage of the fact that these type of beats have so much space, and we want to, use that sonic space that we have to fill it up and, make things have a little more power to it. The lead that you used there, Millie Beats, the lead felt a little bit too fat to me. It just had a little bit too much low mids to it. So you could possibly pull out some of the low mids on that lead and lower the volume of it. Let's see if that blends a little bit better. If that doesn't work, then you might have to swap that lead out for something else. It just felt a little bit too imbalanced. It felt a little bit too present, a little bit too domineering on the beat. Also, another thing, Millie Beats, like we've spoken about on I believe it was the last show, when it comes to your hooks, we're going from the verse to the intro to the hooks. Sometimes it feels like things continuously start over, and I want to challenge you to make the hook more active, give us more bounce and bop in the hook, as opposed to feeling like it starts over again. So I'm trying to hear that the Who Shot Me song in my head by YG. Yeah, and then the Who Shot Me song by yeah. I guess the hook does start to fill up a little bit, but you might even try like 2-step hi-hats, Millie Beats, just to drive the bounce so we don't always feel like we're starting over and over again with your arrangement. But shout out to you, Millie Beats. Thank you so much for submitting on the Heat Check. All right, we got another submission right here by Millie Beats. This one's called Therapy. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen.
Goddamn, Millie, you bad.
My father taught me many things here. He taught me in this room. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
right, all right, all right. Second submission of the night by Millie Beats. And Millie Beats, see you said something here on the chat. Can it be done with a chorus? I think you're talking about the lead on. Are you talking about the lead or the bass? On the first beat, Millie Beats, when you said can it be done on the chorus? Sorry for that. Just got distracted. I believe you might be talking about the chorus. The lead. Are you talking about the chorus effect? I think that's what you're talking about. Please clarify in the chat if you have a second, Millie. The bass. Can it be made fat? The bass, if you put a chorus, that's gonna make it wider. I want it to be like. I don't want you to have to think about using like a multi-band saturator or a saturator. I would just say let's try to use an EQ to kind of hit the low mids on that bass to make it more powerful. So for your second submission, Millie Beats, this beat was, this beat had a nice vibe to it, classic vibe. I could definitely rap to it. That's being said, the snare that you use on that felt it felt stocky. A little distortion could help on the bass, Millie, but what I want to tell you to do is to use like a multi-band distortion to hit the low mids, but that might be difficult, especially on FL Studio Mobile. So you can just try swapping out with different bass sounds and see what you like more. And if that doesn't work, then try using an EQ to kind of add more body to it. But moving forward your second beat, the snare felt very stocky. It felt like it came from a stock pack. So let's try swapping out that snare with something that has a little bit more polish. If you do like the character of that snare, you can go through your sound selection and add an additional snare that's just thicker to just give it more power, to make it not feel as fresh out of the pack stock snare sound. So we just need a better character for your snare. So let's go ahead and do that. And you'll be all good to go on that particular beat. So shout out to you, Millie. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right, there we go. All right, moving forward, we have Trep World with tennis racket. What? Chanel tennis rackets. Okay. So shout out to you, Trep World. We're going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen.
Trap World.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Trep World with Chanel tennis rackets. Shout out to you, Trep World, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Trep World. Couple things with that beat. Number one, we need a new 808 that 808 really didn't fit the rest of the music. It just felt like, I think that was like a Zay 808 you were using possibly. It didn't really fit the music, so we need to swap out that 808. Also, another thing that I noticed about that beat is it had issues with volume balancing. Certain sounds just felt like detached from other sounds. So you need to find a way to get things to blend together better. I have a free EQ class that you can find on my YouTube channel. You could definitely get some gems from that. And then also we need to just work on balancing the volume. One thing is to play your music at a low level, then at a medium level. And then when you listen to it at a low level or a medium level, you're going to start to notice certain sounds just kind of pop out and feel way disjointed. But when you just play things loud and blast them to yourself, everything can kind of sound good and feel good. And honestly, in the studio, that's kind of a trick that some engineers do, but I won't bust anybody out on that. So just work on the volume balancing. Also, the beat itself felt like it didn't really have any real direction. It felt like you were adding sounds just because you could. So you need to figure out what exactly are you trying to accomplish. So I want to give you this gem, Trap World. You know, a lot of times as producers, when we start making beats, we're trying to figure out our sonic identity. Who are we as producers? And right now I can hear that you're kind of grabbing onto things, but you don't have a real focus. So I want you, Trap World, I want you to think about the type of music that you enjoy listening to. Ideally, if someone could put you in a time machine and push you 3 years from now or 2 years from now and put you on, let's just say, a music producer panel with other producers who are similar to you, who would you want those producers to be? Who would you want those producers sitting next to you to be, right? And what I want you to do is I want you to go into their current catalog, download a few of their beats, and really listen to music as a student, as opposed to just a music fan and someone who just likes the way the music feels. Listen to how certain producers program their hi-hats. Listen to their sound selections. What VSTs do they use? How has their sounds evolved over time? And you need to just basically have a framework for the type of music that you want to eventually make. And that's going to help guide you to help refine and give you steps on where you want to be eventually. So you need to find a path of people that you want to follow. And then in that process of following those people, you start to create your own sound. So that's just going to happen naturally as you start to, sell beats to artists, work with different people in the studio and things like that. So yes, shout out to you, Trap World. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. And shout out to you, Millie Beast. I see you in the chat. All right, guys, you guys are keeping me over a little bit, but we are on our final submission here now, which is JVN World. All right, JVN World, I'm about to play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. All right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was JVN World with RTY. Shout out to you, JVN World, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, JVN World, the first thing that I noticed about the beat, first of all, let me start by saying thank you for keeping your stripped down sound, your simple sound, and we just need to tighten that up. Once again, the simple sound is good. We just need to tighten it up. The first thing is that 808 was added key at certain places. So like I've mentioned on almost all my show, guys, please push your 808s up an octave. It's going to sound like a bell. Instead of it's going to be boo. And if you need to push it up another octave, it's going to be boo. It's easier for the human ear to hear that, and then you can put things in the right key. So if you notice, your melodic elements weren't out of key, but the 808 was, because it's so low and it's difficult for the human ear to hear those frequencies. Put them up an octave, get them right, and then push them back into the correct octave. Also, melodically, I like how things were going, but we just needed to add more to the melody, because it just started to feel like it was droning on at times. So listen to beats. I really want you guys to get into the habits of listening to beats as students, as opposed to just fans of producers or fans of the recording artist. Listen critically to what these producers are doing to make the simple beats be still engaging. What are they doing? Are they putting growth speed on it? Are they putting halftime on it? Are they stopping the melodic loop and reversing it? Are they stopping it and pitching it down? Are they just adding bells or a pad from Nexus or Omnisphere on top of it? Really listen to how people are developing their beats, and then you can reverse and engineer that process and put it into your own process. So that the melodic elements just needed to give me more direction, because it was just droning on and on and on, and we just needed to add more to make things a little more engaging, a little more exciting. All right, so shout out to you, JVN World. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great Heat Check show, guys. I told you guys I'm going in and out, guys. You kept me over a few minutes, but it's all good, because I'm showing love to the producer community. Once again, new Made in the Studio podcast episode coming this Thursday, so make sure you be on the lookout for that. Check that out whenever it drops Thursday morning. It is with Daniel Cruz Hernandez, the CEO of Producer Royalty. He's out there getting the bag for producers. Producers are sitting on thousands of dollars out there. He dropped so many gems that you guys are definitely going to enjoy. So be on the lookout for that episode, so you don't want to miss out. All right, guys. So also go to DesmondASounds.com to get your free loops, free FL Studio patcher plugins, free guides. Also, if you guys need more help, you guys see the link in the description. You see the link in the pinned comments here in the chat. Book a one-on-one coaching call. I can go ahead and jump right in with you guys on Zoom. I can take a look at your DAW, help you out, get this one-on-one coaching to help you develop. AI is getting better and better, but people do have aversions to AI music, AI in general, when it comes to customer service, everything like that. So the human element is always going to be needed, even if producers eventually we go back old school where we're in the studio with the recording artist and they want you to make the beats on the spot. So you don't want to get caught with your pants down. You want to know what you're doing. So let me help you. Let me guide you. I've made beats in the studio on the spot and sold them right there on the spot. It's definitely a fun thing. So if you want to get to that point, make sure you click on that link to book a one-on-one coaching call, DesmondASounds.com/coaching. I'll be glad to help you out on your music production journey. All right, guys, I will see you guys next Friday. You guys be safe. I'll see y'all soon. Keep cooking up that fire. I'll be glad to help you guys